Okay, so on the bottom right-hand corner is Uncle Sam and a random civilian talking, and the civilian asks, "Say, whatever happened to freedom from fear?" Because that was a quote that FDR made. And dude, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Okay.
Who was he though? Was he like a senator?
President. Okay, and so the reason that was put in there was because with the blacklist going on and everything else, people didn't have
the blacklist.
Blacklist was basically where if you expressed your civil rights or if you were part of the State Department, then you were a communist.
Okay, what were some civil rights that were lost?
All civil rights were fine. If you weren't a Christian, you were a communist.
That's a ruler.
Okay.
So what kind of desk is 5 feet? One small man.
Society would be probably called into the court for no real accusations that there is actual evidence.
Which is where
You
said the
the tripod here next to you.
and the whole like
The saw is talking. Senator McCarthy, he started with government and State Department, so people in the president's administration. And then he expanded. Yes, he did, the Army. He even went after journalists.
after everybody.
Yeah, you would knock each other out. Probably. You would knock you out physically, and you would knock yourself out from laughing so crazy all the time.
Yeah.
I think so. I think they would do that. But you have to play him
What's the impact? What he did?
I think they'd be a one. It wouldn't even be half of
There's no real
evidence
evidence for the accusation.
Nope, done. That's game. Very pretty.
You know that the expert isn't supposed to just give the answer. She specifically said that.
That's too bad.
Max, how do you know that there's false evidence being provided and that they're just being called into court? How do you know that?
If you look
No.
at this general area,
That guy saw like they just made it up. And
See,
and then
Max
at the
is smart
top,
enough to know that.
at the top it says new and important evidence, and the new is just been built.
It's not war ASL. Just
and that's like a professional guy too, and that's just like a workplace.
Yeah, workers. Yeah. And how did you say this impacted
we would have the
American society?
This is just
Constant. It's fair.
this is thing.
And they're like put into jail and went to court too.
Which is where like civil rights come in. Not having a fair trial, and you weren't allowed to speak against your accusations. Freedom of speech. I'm sure this is supposed to be McCarthy. I don't know. That's who I would assume that is.
Okay, head back to your
I just got that pencil today.
Hey, boo.
Jacob, I'm not even joking.
I love you, best friend. What? What?
Jacob, don't.
You're so about the best.
I didn't take
It's still going.
And there. I was just looking at it.
Yes, it is still recording.
That's enough to make it appropriate.
Okay, class.
Yes.
Class.
Oh.
Can I I have your attention, please? Thank you. Now what I would like for you to do for just a couple of minutes is debrief as a group, especially with your expert who stayed behind, and share with the expert what you learned about the impact of the Red Scare on the American society and civil rights. Okay? Okay, go.
I learned that a lot okay, while I was over at the other I learned that a lot of persons that people were lost in
they were lost or blacklisted and considered a teacher. He's like, look, I stole Jordan's pencil. No, that was nice. And I have to read it.
So the red is right over. Girl Scouts take part in the first of the Red
Girl Scouts. Yeah, there's pressure with civil rights.
They're trying to ask if they maybe
They were going to kill the
Did you know that you have to like AC because kids sneaking me
Just looking at it.
Yeah, like more than color and so other kids are just it's not like Darby. Yeah.
Why'd you say
He's just applying. She's even here. It's like today. I knew how to do that.
Her block through all of these.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and break in here because I'm curious. How did this expand your understanding of the Red Scare, the impact of the Red Scare on American society, as well as our civil rights? Okay? Johanna.
All the civil rights were undermined and everyone was suspected of being a communist.
Okay, so all and everyone.
false?
What does all, what do you mean by all and everyone? Anybody want to jump in and add some specifics to Johanna's statement?
Of the people, like, no matter who you were and what you did, you were still looked upon as
False.
Okay, so the public, no matter who you were or what you did, you were looked upon as a communist, but we have Jameson over here saying that that is a false statement. What is your problem with that statement, Jameson?
Well, I just don't think they picked out every single individual and said, you may be a communist.
Because I don't think they took the president and they were like, Mr. President, I know it's
Especially-
kind of awkward.
Especially the ones that were like on communist.
What did they say about President Truman?
That he was one. That he favored. No, he was
weak.
sympathizing.
He was
Yeah.
soft on
Yeah.
communism,
That's
right?
what it was. I was never.
And I'll get,
I'm just gonna also add
okay,
that the government, or not government, the QAC also aimed at basically anyone and everyone who expressed their civil rights. So if you didn't express any of your civil rights, then they probably didn't think you was a communist. But if you could express them all you wanted, as long as it wasn't against the government, they were all good.
okay, so as long as you didn't attack the government, unless, I guess you were just a McCarthy, you could attack the government.
Yeah.
Okay, so, just a minute, Jordan, what did Eisenhower do when he decided to run for Congress in the for the president, excuse me, in the midst of this Red Scare? He was a moderate Republican. What did he do to help himself to get elected, Brianna? He took on Richard Nixon as his vice president. Who was Richard Nixon in all of this?
The leader of the QAC.
Okay, he was a member of QAC, so he was a congressman, and he was part of leading the charge. Yeah, so it impacted politics at the very top even. Jordan, you had a comment.
You're pretty much saying that President Truman was a communist.
He was attacked as being, I don't know if they called him a pink, but they said he was soft on communism in large part because he lost China, as they said, they put it. He lost China. He wasn't able to roll back communism in Korea, and so he got attacked for that as well. And he supported the workers in a lot of ways. And the workers is where a lot of the fear was. Other things that you learned. Yes, sponsor it.
Everyone was scared.
Everyone was frightened.
And some people would rather have communism than be looked at for being a communist.
Okay. So when you say people would rather have communism than be attacked as a
And have
communist.
their civil rights undermined.
Okay, so maybe what you're saying is people would rather submit to a little bit of authoritarianism and be safe from communism
And be given your civil rights, not have them taken away a lot.
because there was a real fear that if you actually walked in your civil rights, you might be walking towards communism. That's a great insight. Good job. Yeah.
Tootsie Roll.
Tootsie Roll? Is that it?
For the whole flag.
Okay.
I just realized that.
I want to come back to the civil rights issue.
No, not him.
The fear.
That's right.
The fear really undermined certain civil rights more than others.
Porcupine thing.
What specific civil rights did you see being attacked as you looked at these cartoons? Demetrius.
Peaceful
You
assembly.
think it's a bad thing?
Peaceable assembly. Jordan.
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. Sansarin. Freedom of religion. Jordan. We have the right to assemble. Somebody else. Yes, Joey.
That's cool.
Okay.
Like the way she dresses. She makes me think of my sister.
Oh. The right for people to learn. Jameson.
The right to a free trial.
Okay, the right to a trial of your peers.
She makes me
Summer.
think of my sister. My sister's like that.
Freedom of the press.
That's a good way to
Oh.
So all of those liberties that we enjoy in our democracy,